So in almost every episode, I have discussed visual features that appeal to the viewer on the island of Sodor. However, we, the fans, aren't the only ones. We know the engines have their spots too. Some enjoy the viaduct, Gordon's Hill, or various stops like Brendam Docks. Of course, these places range from engine to engine depending on what they do.
Toby's favorite place is the old windmill. The windmill is worn. It cannot make much flour now. Toby loves to watch the sails go around. And the miller is his friend. Good morning, Toby.
Yeah, the windmill is pretty worn. For some reason, I thought we'd be either talking about the one we've seen more frequently as of late, or at the very least the tall rectangular one from the early seasons. That one really felt more like it was Toby's favorite. After all, it was boxy like him. Imagine if they used the one where Mr. C had to stoke up the magic in the mountain. What an Easter egg that would have been. One day Toby enjoyed watching the windmill so much he forgot to stop.
All the flour was ruined, and the miller was upset. If I can't sell my flour, I'll have to shut down the windmill.
Way to go, box cab. Best be watching where you're rolling next time. I guess those sails really had you mesmerized there, didn't they? I know, it's so hypnotic. I'm just amazed that mill can keep rotating even with holes in its sails. You mean to tell me the miller doesn't have enough money to repair at least them? I thought Sodor was thriving by now with all the heavy industry surrounding it. Well, not after what came next.
Toby couldn't sleep that night. It wasn't the thunder and lightning that kept him awake. He was still worrying about the miller. That stormy night, the old windmill was struck by lightning.
Alright, well, so much for that. I've said it before and I'll say it again. While the island of Sodor looks peaceful, its storms are still just as dangerous. We've seen the damage before in episodes like Henry's Forest of Season 3, or Cranky Bugs from Season 5. Too bad there haven't been better methods of protection from these kinds of natural disasters.
The storm had torn trees from the ground, and the farm buildings had been damaged. Then Toby saw the most shocking sight of all. The windmill is broken, he cried. This means the end of my business.
I mean, if all he could supply were 3 trucks of flour to market, I'd say his business was pretty much on its last leg anyway. But yeah, after that, you can forget about even getting 1 truck out. Thank heavens for Sodor Fire Company, otherwise a brush fire could have started. But Toby wasn't about to call it quits.
Harvey and Terrence were clearing the track. Remove this tree immediately. Please, sir. The windmill has been broken. The wood from this tree can mend it and make it work again.
You really think Toby's going to haul that tree all by himself, Top Hat? I don't know, seems a bit much for one steam tram. Especially when you have a crane engine on the rails too. Thankfully though, Top Hat liked the sound of Toby's idea, and decided to donate the tree to the miller for repairs. Good thinking on his end for sure.
The miller was delighted. Now we can build our windmill back up again. It will be good as new. Toby watched as the work began.
Okay, never mind. Toby looked like he had no trouble taking those flatbeds. I think what I like more is that Terrence, Trevor, and even George are all shown working in this episode. It has certainly been a while since they were out and about. I'm just surprised the miller can't pay for the lumber, when he can clearly pay everyone who makes the pieces needed for the new mill. I don't think he was fully telling the truth. Anyway, the new mill was built and made even more flour than the old one.
And Toby makes twice as many deliveries to the market. He never tires of watching the sails go around. And he is very proud that the miller now calls it Toby's Windmill.
Yes, I agree. Since he is the one, after all, who went out of his way to help, this was a nice, wholesome little story. It resembles a little bit of Henry's Forest, actually, where it expands the interests of an engine, confronts them with a loss, to then have it revived again. And while it certainly does not have the same emotional impact as that of Henry's Forest, it still brings back those memories. It's unique that Toby has his own place he likes to be where he feels at rest. Although I would think Arrowsdale End would be his favorite place. Or at least Maithwaite Station, since he clearly said that back in Season 5's Bah! For music, there is a theme associated with him, but again, it's not the same kind of memorable one that comes to mind when remembering his original from past seasons. For set pieces, while the windmill itself is great to look at, it is still nothing when seeing the locations that were teased with today, like the Castle Lock Causeway, with Callan Castle or Castle Lock in the back. But to clarify, there's another castle on Sodor, but under the name Callan? Because Callan's castle isn't the one above Tidmouth Bay Station. So how wealthy is this Callan dude? We also see the classic watermill, and Toby's shed, which hasn't been shown since Toby's discovery of Season 5. And what do you know, another Lorry! They did say they'd be back. Either they're undercover because they don't have their faces, or even worse, their faces were stripped from their bodies. Which explains why they're so well behaved. That explains a lot. Next episode is Bad Day at Castle Lock. Thanks for watching.